The superior-class exploration vessel Eternal Seeker drifted at the edge of an unremarkable solar system, its quantum sensors probing the third planet from the local star. Captain Ziravic stood motionless, her crystalline form refracting the soft bridge lighting, as she studied the holographic displays with growing confusion. "Another anomaly, science officer?" she asked, noting her chief scientist's agitated movements. Science Officer Krell's tentacles writhed in distress as he manipulated the sensor controls. "Impossible readings, Captain. This planet, it's a Class 12 death world. Yet I'm detecting artificial satellites, electromagnetic communications, and..." He paused, mandibles clicking, primitive but functional spacecraft. A Class 12 death world. The designation alone made several junior officers flinch. Such planets were considered uninhabitable by Galactic Federation standards. Crushing gravity, extreme temperature variations, aggressive biodiversity, and constant geological instability. The fact that any species could evolve there, let alone achieve spaceflight, defied conventional wisdom. "Maintain distance," Zyra ordered. "Continue passive scans only. The last protocol is clear regarding first contact with..." The ship's emergency beacon shrieked to life, cutting off her words. 3 vessels had just emerged from FTL, their angular forms a stark contrast to the Eternal Seeker's smooth lines. Pirates. The scourge of the outer systems had found them. "Evasive maneuvers," Zyra commanded, but she knew their chances were slim. The Eternal Seeker was a research vessel, its defensive capabilities limited to basic shields and a single-point defense array. The pirates struck hard and fast, their first volley overwhelming the shields. As emergency systems blared and her crew scrambled for survival, Zara noticed something strange on the tactical display. Multiple objects launching from the primitive planet below. "Captain," Krell called out. "The Deathworlders. They're responding to our distress beacon." 6 vessels rose from the planet's atmosphere, their design unlike anything in the Federation database. They were blocky, inelegant things, bristling with chemical thrusters and projectile weapons that should have been obsolete centuries ago. Yet they moved with surprising speed and coordination. "Unknown vessels, this is Commander Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Force." A transmission cut through their communications. "We've detected hostile ships in your vicinity. Hold position. Assistance is incoming." Before Zira could respond, the Earth vessels engaged the pirates. What followed defied everything she thought she knew about space combat. The primitive ships moved in ways that seemed to ignore basic safety protocols, using their chemical thrusters to execute maneuvers that Federation pilots would consider suicidal. They fought not with energy weapons, but with mass drivers and guided missiles, overwhelming the pirates' shields through sheer kinetic force. "Fascinating," Krell whispered, his scientific curiosity overwhelming his fear. "Their tactical doctrine appears to assume combat will result in damage. Their ships are compartmentalized, redundant systems everywhere. They're designed to keep fighting even when heavily damaged." The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. 2 pirate vessels followed with significant damage, while the third was disabled by concentrated fire from the Earth ships. As Zira watched in amazement, the human vessels formed a protective screen around the Eternal Seeker. "Exploration vessel, this is Commander Chen. Are you stable? Do you require medical assistance?" Zyra found her voice. "This is Captain Vix of the Galactic Federation vessel Eternal Seeker. Yes, we have injuries. But how did you?" "We monitored the energy spike when those ships appeared," Chen replied. "Standard protocol for unknown contacts near Earth space. We'll escort you to our orbital station for repairs. Our medical facilities are equipped for most carbon-based life forms." Hours later, as Federation emergency response ships arrived to find the Eternal Seeker safely docked at Earth's orbital station, Zira sat across from Commander Chen in a conference room. The human was smaller than Zira had expected, her form seemingly fragile compared to the crystalline captain's. Yet there was nothing fragile about the way she moved or spoke. "Your intervention saved my ship and crew," Zyra said. The Federation will remember this. Chen smiled. Just doing our job, Captain. Space is dangerous enough without pirates making it worse. She paused, studying a datapad. Though I admit, we're curious about why a Federation ship was observing Earth. We've known about your civilization for some time. It's hard to miss all the FTL traffic at the system's edge. Zyra's crystalline form shifted in surprise. You knew, but you never attempted contact. We wanted to be ready, Chen explained. Earth isn't an easy world. It taught us to be cautious, to be prepared. When we saw your ship under attack, we knew it was time. Looking out the station's viewport at Earth below, Zyra began to understand. The humans hadn't just survived their death world. They had been shaped by it, forged into something unique in the galaxy. They were simultaneously more primitive and more advanced than she had expected, their technology reflecting a species that had never had the luxury of assuming things would work perfectly. The Federation has much to learn from Earth, she said finally, and perhaps we have things to teach you as well. Chen nodded. That's our hope. The galaxy's a big place. Better to face it together. As if to emphasize her words, a pirate distress beacon activated in a nearby sector. Chen checked her displays and stood. Duty calls. Care to observe our response operations, Captain? Show you how we handle things on this end of space. Zyra rose as well, her crystal form catching the light. I believe the Federation would be very interested in that, Commander. Very interested indeed. 6 months after Earth's official introduction to the Galactic Federation, Admiral Ziravix stood before the Federation Council, her crystalline form rigid with tension. The holographic display behind her showed a growing list of devastated colonies and destroyed outposts. The silence, as we're calling them, struck again last night, she reported. The mining colony on Proxima Vi. No survivors, no demands, no communication attempts, she gestured, and the display showed grainy footage of massive dark ships emerging from fold space. Their technology appears to be on par with our most advanced designs, but their tactical approach, she paused, searching for words, is barbaric, finished Counselor Tren, their gelatinous form rippling with distress. They target civilian populations first, ignore surrender signals, and show no interest in resources or territory. 15 colonies in 3 months. Our defense fleets are overwhelmed. In the back of the chamber, Commander Sarah Chen watched silently. In the months since first contact, she'd been appointed as Earth's military liaison to the Federation. The relationship had been developing slowly, with many Federation species still uncomfortable with the idea of Deathworlders in their midst. But this crisis had accelerated everything. The Silence's ships, Chen spoke up, drawing attention. They're designed for high-stress environments. Look at the whole configuration, the way they move. They're built to withstand forces that would tear apart standard Federation vessels. Admiral Vix nodded. Commander Chen's analysis matches our own. The Silence appear to originate from a high-gravity system, possibly even a death world like Earth. This may explain their aggressive nature. Then perhaps, a new voice cut in. It's time we fought fire with fire. The speaker was Dr. Elena Santos, Earth's chief xenotechnologist. The Federation has the most advanced technology in known space. Earth has experienced fighting in conditions that most species consider impossible. Together, the council chamber erupted in debate. The idea of actively collaborating with Deathworlders on military matters was unprecedented. Yet the mounting casualties from the Silence attacks demanded action. Before any consensus could be reached, emergency alerts flashed across every screen. The Silence had struck again, this time at the Federation's premier shipyard in the Arcturus system. But something was different. 3 Earth Defense Force vessels were conducting joint exercises in the area, Chen reported, quickly pulling up tactical data. They're engaging the Silence ships now. The Council watched in stunned silence as the battle unfolded. The Earth ships, despite their technological inferiority, managed to hold their own against 2 Silence vessels through sheer tactical innovation. They used the shipyard's massive construction arrays as cover, executed high maneuvers that would have killed most Federation crews, and coordinated their attacks with a precision that spoke of long experience in combat. While they couldn't drive off the Silence completely, they bought enough time for the shipyard's personnel to evacuate and for Federation reinforcements to arrive. The cost was high. One Earth ship destroyed, the other two heavily damaged. But they'd saved over 10,000 lives. Impossible, whispered Counselor Tren. Those ships shouldn't have lasted 30 seconds against Silence technology. Because you think about ships as platforms for technology, Chen replied, her voice firm. We think about them as tools for survival. Every Earth vessel is built with the assumption that things will go wrong, that systems will fail, that the crew will have to improvise. Just like living on Earth taught us to always have backup plans for our backup plans. Dr. Santos stepped forward, her eyes bright with inspiration. The Silence have advanced technology like the Federation, and they're adapted to extreme conditions like humans. But they lack humanity's experience in turning disadvantages into strengths. We don't just survive our death world. We learn from it. Admiral Vix's crystalline form caught the light as she turned to address the Council. I was there when Earth first revealed itself to us. I saw firsthand how they fought, how they think. The Silence are overwhelming us because they combine advanced technology with brutal force. Perhaps, she paused, her form shifting in what humans had learned was her equivalent of a deep breath. Perhaps we need warriors who understand both. The Council chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. The Silence weren't just testing the Federation's technological superiority. They were challenging its fundamental philosophy of progress through peace and cooperation. Yet here stood the humans, a species that had mastered their violent world not by conquering it, but by learning to work with its harsh conditions. We propose the Joint Defense Initiative, Chen said into the Silence. Federation technology combined with Earth tactics and training. Not just ships and weapons, but a true collaboration. We'll teach your crews how to think like Deathworlders, how to survive when technology fails, how to turn disadvantages into advantages, how to keep fighting when everything goes wrong. Dr. Santos added, and in return you can teach us how to enhance our capabilities with your advanced technology. Together, we might create something entirely new, a force that combines the best of both our civilizations. As if to emphasize their point, another alert came through. The Silence had been spotted moving toward one of the Federation's core worlds. The Council looked at the tactical display, then at the battle footage from the shipyard, where human ingenuity had accomplished what advanced technology alone could not. The motion is called for vote, announced the Council speaker. The creation of a joint human Federation defense force. One by one, the votes came in. Not unanimous, but enough. As the session ended, Shen found herself standing with Admiral Vix, watching ships dock at the great space station above Earth. This won't be easy, Chen said. Our peoples are very different. Vix's crystalline form shimmered with what Chen had learned was amusement. The Silence learned warfare from a death world, but humanity learned something far more valuable from Earth. What's that? How to take the harshest conditions in the galaxy and turn them into strength, not through force, but through adaptation and cooperation. Perhaps that's exactly what the Federation needs right now. Chen smiled, watching as the first Federation ships began arriving for what would become known as the Deathworlder Training Initiative. Well then, Admiral, let's show them how we do things on Earth. Dr. Elena Santos watched from the observation deck as another training simulation ended in chaos. Below, a mixed crew of humans and Federation species evacuated a smoke-filled bridge simulator, their frustration evident even across species barriers. The Federation crew relied entirely on automated systems, noted Commander Chen, standing beside her. When our technicians cut power to simulate battle damage, they panicked. Elena finished, while our people wasted time trying to teach them manual overrides instead of working with the automation they understand. The last 3 months had been a struggle to merge two radically different approaches to space operations, The Federation's ships were marvels of automation and efficiency, while Earth vessels emphasized redundancy and manual control. Neither side fully understood the other's methods. "Watch this," Chen said, gesturing to another simulator where Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez was trying to teach a crystalline Galaxian about emergency repairs. "No, you can't just wait for the nanites to rebuild the circuit," Maria was saying, her patience wearing thin. "What if the nanite control system is damaged too? You need to know how to splice these connections manually." The Galaxian's crystalline form flickered, and what they'd learned was frustration. "And you must learn that modern systems have triple redundant automation. The time spent learning primitive repairs would be better used understanding the automated recovery protocols." Admiral Vix materialized beside them, her crystal form humming with concern. "The integration is proceeding poorly." Elena turned to them both, an idea forming. "We're approaching this wrong. Computer, show me the battle footage from the Arcturus shipyard incident." The display came to life, showing the Earth ships fighting alongside Federation vessels against the silence. "Look there," she pointed. When that Earth ship lost main power, they switched to manual control. But they still coordinated perfectly with the Federation vessels' automated systems. They adapted to each other in the middle of combat. "Because they had to," Chen said slowly, understanding dawning. There wasn't time to argue about whose method was better. "Exactly. We're trying to teach each side to operate like the other, when we should be teaching them to complement each other." Elena's fingers flew over the console, modifying the simulation parameters. "Admiral, with your permission, I'd like to try something different." The next simulation began normally. A mixed human Federation crew operated a hybrid vessel, the humans uncomfortable with the automated systems, the Federation species skeptical of the manual backups. Then Elena triggered multiple cascading failures. But this time, instead of trying to force everyone to operate the same way, she used the ship's communications to provide different information to different crew members. The Federation crew received detailed automated system data, while the humans got practical damage control information. "Engineering, we've lost automated control of the power grid," called out a Galaxian officer. "Understood," responded Maria. "My team can reroute manually, but we'll need your sensor data to identify the critical paths. Guide us through your systems. We'll handle the physical repairs." Working together, adapting to each other's strengths rather than fighting over methods, they kept the ship functioning. When the simulation ended, both human and Federation crew members were looking at each other with new respect. "It's not about making them think like us," Chen realized. "It's about teaching them to think together." Admiral Vix's form pulsed with approval. The Silents are both technologically advanced and adapted to extreme conditions. Perhaps the key to fighting them is not to mirror their strengths, but to create something they've never encountered. True cooperation between different approaches. The breakthrough transformed the training program. Instead of trying to turn Federation crews into humans or humans into Federation technicians, they focused on coordination and mutual support. Federation ships were modified with manual backups, while Earth vessels received advanced automation. But neither was forced to abandon their core approaches. 1 month later, Elena stood with Chen watching a new batch of mixed crews run combat drills. A human tactical officer called out manual targeting solutions, while their Federation counterpart coordinated automated point defense systems. In engineering, Federation technicians guided nanite repair swarms, while human engineers handled physical damage control. "They're starting to anticipate each other," Chen noted with satisfaction. "The Federation crews are learning when to trust human instincts, and our people are learning when to rely on automation." "Just in time," Elena replied, checking her tablet. "Long-range sensors have detected silent ships approaching the Centauri sector. A lot of them." The alert went out across the training facility. Mixed crews rushed to their ships, no longer divided by their differences, but united by shared purpose. As Elena watched them go, she felt a mix of pride and concern. "They're as ready as we can make them," Chen said, reading her expression. The real test will come in combat. Admiral Vix joined them, her crystalline form resonating with determination. The Silence believe that survival in harsh conditions means standing alone, relying only on strength and advanced technology. We're about to show them a different way. Through the viewport, they watched as the first wave of hybrid ships launched. Federation technology merged with Earth design principles, crewed by teams that had learned to turn their differences into advantages. The Deathworlder Fleet was about to face its first true test. Send word to all ships, Chen ordered. Operation Forge Shield is now active. Show them what humans and the Federation can do together. As the fleet moved out, Alina couldn't help but smile at the ship's new designation on the tactical display. Hybrid Vessel Class. Cooperation. The bridge of the HVS Convergence hummed with tension as Commander Sarah Chen studied the tactical display. 6 Silence vessels had emerged from fold space near the Centauri colony, their dark hulls absorbing sensor scans like black holes. They were larger than any Silence ships previously encountered, and their approach formation suggested confidence bordering on arrogance. They're used to being the strongest predator in space, Chen muttered. Time to change that. Status report. Federation targeting systems at full capacity, reported Lieutenant 6, their crystalline form refracting the bridge lights. Human manual targeting systems standing by as backup. Engineering reports all systems nominal, added Lieutenant Rodriguez from her station. Automated and manual controls cross-linked and ready. The Convergence led a fleet of 15 hybrid vessels, each representing the best of both human and Federation engineering. Their hulls combined Federation energy-dispersing materials with human compartmentalization principles. Their weapons systems merged Federation energy weapons with Earth's kinetic solutions. But their greatest strength lay in their crews, humans and Federation species working together, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities. Silence vessels launching attack craft, Zix announced. Energy signatures suggest improved shielding compared to previous encounters. Chen nodded. They've been adapting too. Lieutenant Rodriguez, implement Operation Trojan. Aye, Commander. Launching cargo pods. From the hybrid fleet's flanks, what appeared to be standard cargo containers detached and drifted. The Silence ignored them, just as similar Federation vessels had always ignored cargo during their attacks. That was their first mistake. The Silence expect us to fight like the Federation, Chen had explained during planning. Let's show them something new. The Silence fleet accelerated, their formation optimized for dealing with traditional Federation defensive screens. Their second mistake was assuming they knew what they were facing. All ships, execute maneuver Earthquake, Chen ordered, using the code name for a tactic inspired by Earth's geological instability. The hybrid fleet's formation suddenly fragmented in ways that would appear chaotic to anyone not familiar with fighting in unstable conditions. Ships spun and accelerated in seemingly random directions, making targeting solutions almost impossible. The Silence opened fire, their advanced energy weapons reaching out across space. But the hybrid ships' erratic movements, guided by human intuition and supported by Federation technology, made them difficult targets. Those shots that did connect were absorbed by the combined defensive systems. Now, Chen commanded. The cargo pods exploded outward, revealing themselves as weapon platforms designed by human engineers using Federation technology. The Silence found themselves caught in a crossfire they hadn't expected, their formation optimized for a type of battle they weren't fighting. Multiple hits on Silence vessels, Zix reported with satisfaction. Their shields are adapting, but slower than expected. They've never encountered combined kinetic and energy weapons before. The battle evolved rapidly. When the Silence adjusted to the hybrid fleet's energy weapons, they switched to kinetic strikes. When they adapted to erratic movement patterns, the fleet shifted to rigid formations supported by automated point defense. Each time the Silence thought they had countered one approach, the hybrid crews would switch to another. Silence flagship is launching some kind of missile barrage. Rodriguez called out. Too many for automated defense alone. Switch to manual targeting, Chen ordered. Zix, divert power from automated systems to shields. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, each playing to their strengths. Federation officers handled the complex power management and shield modulation, while humans manually targeted the incoming missiles. Their cooperation had become so natural that they anticipated each other's needs. A massive impact rocked the convergence. Hull breach, Deck 4. Rodriguez reported. Automated repair systems damage. Implementing manual repairs, her Federation counterpart added smoothly, rerouting power through secondary systems. The battle reached its climax as 3 silent ships broke formation, attempting to flank the hybrid fleet. But Chen had been counting on this, had seen the pattern in their previous attacks. All ships, execute maneuver Sunstorm, she commanded. The hybrid fleet moved as one, using a combination of automated and manual control to perform a complex series of maneuvers that no single species could have executed alone. The silent ships found their careful flanking attempt had led them into a carefully prepared trap. Concentrated fire, all weapons, Chen ordered. Show them what cooperation looks like. The combined firepower of the hybrid fleet struck the isolated silent ships from multiple angles. Federation energy weapons overloaded their shields, while human-designed kinetic weapons struck their now exposed hulls. 2 silent ships erupted in silent explosions, while the third was left drifting, its systems disabled. The remaining silence vessels, for the first time since they had appeared, began to retreat. They're running, Rodriguez said in disbelief. We actually drove them off. Not running, Chen corrected, studying their movement patterns. Regrouping. They'll be back, and they'll be ready for what we showed them today. She turned to her crew, human and Federation alike. But we'll be ready too, and we'll have something they can never match. What's that, Commander? Zix asked. The ability to learn from each other, to adapt not just through force, but through cooperation. Send word to Admiral Vix. The hybrid fleet concept is proven. Tell Dr. Santos her theories about combining our approaches were correct. And tell all ship's crews. Outstanding work, every single one of you. As the fleet regrouped and began rescue operations, Chen watched the silent ships vanish into fold space. They had won their first major engagement, but she knew this was just the beginning. The silence would return, stronger and better prepared. But so would the hybrid fleet. Begin damage assessment, she ordered. I want repair teams, both automated and manual, working together. We've shown what humans and the Federation can do together. Now let's show them how we recover together. The captured silence vessel hung in space like a dark monument, its hull reflecting no light. 2 months after their victory in the Centauri sector, the hybrid fleet had finally managed to take one of their mysterious enemies intact. Now, aboard the research station Horizon, Dr. Elena Santos led the investigation that would change everything. The ship's internal atmosphere, she explained to the gathered command staff, is maintained at pressures that would crush most Federation species. The gravity generators are set to nearly 3 times Earth standard. Commander Chen frowned, studying the holographic display. Even for humans, that would be barely survivable with extensive genetic modification. The silents really are Deathworlders. More than that, Elena continued, look at these storage areas. They're not weapon magazines or cargo holds. They're hydroponics bays, life support backup systems, and, she paused, her expression troubled, nursery chambers. Admiral Vix's crystalline form shifted in surprise. Nursery chambers, you mean? These aren't warships, Elena confirmed. They're colony ships, heavily armed colony ships, but colony ships nonetheless. She brought up new data on the display. We've decoded some of their records. The silents, they call themselves the Nexari, are running from something. Their home system's star is dying, becoming unstable. They're searching for new worlds that can support their unique biology. The revelation hit the command staff like a physical blow. The Silents weren't conquerors or mindless aggressors. They were refugees, desperate to save their species. The attacks on Federation colonies, Chen said slowly, they targeted worlds with specific geological profiles. High gravity, active tectonics. The only worlds that could support them. Elena finished. From their perspective, the Federation was claiming all the habitable planets in their reach. They didn't attempt communication because they assumed, based on experience, that no other species could survive on their worlds or would willingly give them up. Admiral Vix's form pulsed with complex emotions. We've been so focused on fighting them, we never considered. But their methods, the civilian casualties, they're desperate, Elena said simply. Their record suggests they have less than a decade before their home system becomes uninhabitable. Millions of their people are in suspended animation aboard these ships. To them, this isn't a war of conquest. It's a fight for survival. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. It was Chen who finally spoke. Then we need to change the game. Dr. Santos, what about Federation terraforming technology? Yelena's eyes lit up. Combined with human experience in adapting to harsh environments, yes, it might be possible. There are dozens of worlds the Federation considers too extreme for colonization that could be modified to support Nexari life. And human engineering principles could help design sustainable habitats during the terraforming process. Chen added, we've been building structures to withstand Earth's earthquakes and storms for centuries. Admiral Vix straightened. I'll convene the Federation Council immediately. But first, we need to contact the Nexari. Show them we understand and can offer an alternative. That won't be easy, Chen cautioned. They're likely to view any approach as a trap. After all, we just proved we can fight them effectively. Then we don't approach as warriors, Elena suggested. We approach as fellow survivors. Humans understand what it means to evolve on a world that tries to kill you. The Federation understands what it means to build through cooperation rather than conflict. Together, the plan came together quickly. The hybrid fleet tracked down the main Nexari battle group, but instead of attacking, they transmitted data. Detailed plans for terraforming projects, designs for adaptation habitats, and most importantly, proof that humans could survive in conditions similar to their own. The Nexari response was initially suspicious, then cautiously hopeful. First contact was established on a hybrid vessel specially modified to support their environmental needs. The Nexari representatives were massive, their bodies clearly evolved for high gravity, but their eyes held intelligence and desperation that transcended species barriers. We did not believe cooperation was possible, the Nexari ambassador said through translation devices. Our history taught us that survival meant standing alone against the universe. Earth taught us differently, Chen replied. We survived not by conquering our world, but by learning to adapt and work together. The Federation taught us that the same principle applies among the stars. The next year saw the launch of the most ambitious joint project in galactic history. Federation terraforming technology, human engineering, and Nexari environmental expertise combined to transform hostile worlds into new homes. The hybrid fleet, created for war, found a new purpose protecting and supporting these massive operations. On the bridge of the Convergence, now supervising the terraforming of the third Nexari colony world, Shen stood with Elena and Admiral Vix. The Nexari are already talking about joining the Federation, Elena reported. Their expertise in extreme environment operations is proving invaluable, and they're eager to learn more about cooperative development. From Deathworld refugees to potential allies, Chen mused. All because we learned to see beyond our differences. Admiral Vix's crystalline form caught the light of the newly modified planet below. The hybrid fleet was created to defend against a terrible enemy. Instead, it helped us forge a new understanding. Perhaps that's what humanity's true gift to the galaxy is, not just the strength to survive harsh conditions, but the wisdom to turn survival into cooperation. And the determination to find solutions beyond fighting, Elena added. Even when facing an enemy, to look for the possibility of peace. Chen smiled as she watched Nexeri ships working alongside Federation and human vessels in perfect coordination. That's the real lesson of Earth, isn't it? The harshest conditions don't just make you stronger. They teach you the value of standing together. The hybrid fleet remained, no longer just a military force, but a symbol of what different species could achieve together. And among the stars, a new understanding spread. That true strength comes not from facing the universe's challenges alone, but from facing them together.